Hi everyone, welcome to His Arrows, Our Hands. If we haven't met before, my name is Celeste and I am the homeschooling mom of 3 boys. If you've seen our previous videos, you know that our family has recently moved to a new state. We've been transitioning and taking some time off to be able to settle into our new home, to our new area. But I'm so excited to be able to share this video with you with a topic I think that is very real for all of us. Recently, there's been a lot of increase in prices in many areas, groceries, gas. It's a reality that we are all facing. And so I wanted to share some tips of some ideas of how you can homeschool on a budget. When we first started the channel a couple of years ago, we had shared a video talking about free homeschooling resources. So I'll be sure to link that video up in a card if you're interested. But I wanted to share a few more things that I didn't share in that video regarding how you're able to homeschool on a budget. Homeschooling can be expensive. It also is something that is worth investing in. But the reality is we also want to be good stewards of the resources the Lord has put in our hands. If you have any tips on how to homeschool on a budget that have worked for your family, please be sure to leave them in the comments below. Tip number 1 is to make a budget and start early. I think that if you give yourself the time to be able to plan for the next school year, it really helps you to have the time to do all the research, see what is going to be necessary or what it is that you want to do in the upcoming school year. To sit down and really think, how much do we have to invest in this area? Again, we see homeschooling as an investment, not an expense. It's something that we are investing in our children's lives, their education. And so it's great to sit down and really make a realistic analysis of how much do we have this year, in this season, to be able to invest in our child's homeschooling. It might help to give yourself a cap. Okay, this is the absolute most we can spend, but we're going to try to spend less if we can. You also can decide if you want to make this budget per child or per family. Depending on the size of your family, the different educational needs, you may want to do this per child. You may want to make a specific budget per child. We as a family actually make our budget per family. So we try to look overall at our 3 boys and budget that way. It has worked very well for us because we have found that we always have to spend a little more with our oldest son because he's using always brand new curriculum, being that he's the trailblazer that's going first. But we're able to spend less on our younger sons because we're able to reuse a lot of different things. And so many times doing it that way, overall, it works really well because at the end, even though we're spending a little more on one, because we're spending less on the other one, it kind of balances out and it kind of helps us to spend a little less money overall. Tip number 2 is reuse whenever possible. So I briefly mentioned it in a previous tip, but this is one of the greatest ways that you're able to save money in the long run. So there have been some curriculum that we have found really worked for all of our children. An example of that is a Becca language, and I shared it in how we use a Becca video that I kind of tweak how we use a Becca so we don't follow it to the T, but we have incorporated it into our learning and it's worked very well. Our youngest son is currently in God's Gift of Language B, which is the 5th grade level book. We purchased this teacher manual when our oldest son was in 5th grade. Our oldest son has gone through this, our second son has gone through this, and now our youngest son is going through this curriculum. So this is a one-time purchase that I made. For younger 2 boys, I only had to purchase the workbooks for them because I already had the teacher manual. So that's a way that you're able to save money. Same thing with reusing these spelling and vocabulary books. So this spelling book is the one that our 5th grader is using. And again, this book has been used by all 3 boys. It has spelling lists inside. So we're able to just take the spelling list and come up with different activities for spelling, for vocab, to be able to make it fresh and new for each one of them, but still not have to invest in purchasing a brand new book. Same thing with the vocabulary and spelling book. Our oldest son used this when he was in 7th grade, and now our middle son is also using it for 7th grade. So same exact book that we didn't have to repurchase. Sometimes books can take a little bit of a beating. This one that's on his 3rd go did need a little bit of packaging tape to get it through one more year, but it made it, and it's really great to get the most use out of the resources that we have. And again, because we invested a little more in our high school's curriculum this year, it was great to be able to save money yet not have to compromise on the quality of education for our younger boys. Another example of how we've been able to reuse curriculum is with our Saxon math. So our oldest son used the Saxon math textbooks. Now our second son is going through the curriculum. Because they are textbooks, they don't have to write in them. They do all their work on a notebook. We didn't have to repurchase the curriculum, and we're able to save it. And if it works well for our youngest son, we're able to use it for him as well. Something that you can come across is that there may be a curriculum that didn't quite work 100% for your family, but you want to get the most use out of it because it's what you have on hand. So this is an example of it. So the Of People literature curriculum for the 7th grade, we used with our oldest son. I used it with the tests and everything that came with it. The way that it was set up with all of that didn't really work as great for us, but I really did like the stories that were in this text. So for our second son, we are using this, and I shared a little more detail about how in our 7th grade curriculum choices, so I'll be sure to link that video above if you'd like to see. But we are reading this together and really going through the analysis questions, and I'm using this book, but not all of it. So he picked a few units. We're going through it together without having to use necessarily the tests, the Abeka tests. Instead, I'm coming up with different projects that he's able to do. Things like character analysis and sketchboards and things like that. So again, taking a curriculum you already have and coming up with a fresh way to incorporate it will definitely save you money in the long run. Tip number 3 is combine subjects whenever possible. There are some subjects that just lend themselves so well for group subjects. Things like history, science, geography. They're great opportunities to get all of your kids together, depending on their level of learning. What you're able to do is just take a curriculum and tailor it to each of their levels of learning. Some curriculum go ahead and do it already for you. An example of that is the Mystery of History. I've shared that our family really enjoys this curriculum. We've done volume 1, volume 4, now we're working on volume 2 this year, and we're doing it with all 3 of our boys. So because it does bring activities and different assignments for different levels of learning, you're able to do one curriculum, read the lesson aloud, and then have each child do their own activity that's to their level. With our youngest 2 sons, we're also doing science together. We're hoping to do zoology for the second half of the year, get some field trips in, and do different things that really enrich the learning. And I think that group subjects are so great because there's so many rich discussions, so many things come up as you really are bouncing off each other, listening to what each of the children have to say, their thoughts, their insight into things. It really elevates the learning to another level. So not only is it great as far as really fostering that learning environment, it's also a way that you're able to save money because you buy one curriculum and are able to use it with multiple children. Tip number 4, when it's time to purchase, compare prices. First thing I would say is to check out vendor sales. Many times there's different homeschool vendors or different companies that have sales periodically. You get on their email list, they'll send you these special promotions and things that they have going on, which are really great. So if there's a specific curriculum that you really do want to use and want to try to get a good deal on it, if you get on their email list, the first to be notified of any special deals or discount codes available to you as kind of part of their community. There's also a couple of websites I could recommend, one being christianbook.com. It's honestly where we purchase the majority of our homeschool curriculum. They always have free coupon codes for free shipping. So again, being on their email list has worked great because we always are notified of those free shipping codes. And I honestly don't think I've ever paid for shipping for any of our curriculum because of that. And honestly, shipping costs for different things little by little can add up. So that is a way that you're able to save cost. Also, Rainbow Resources has a promotion. They always have a promotion that if you spend $50 or more, you automatically get free shipping. So that's another tip or another idea of how you can save money. Lastly, you can also buy used. A few of our textbooks I've been able to find used. And again, that is also a way to cut costs and that will help you stretch your budget a little bit more. My 5th and final tip, to incorporate free resources whenever possible. Again, I talked a lot more about this in our free homeschooling resource video, but some of the things that you can do, take advantage of your local library. So there are some books that we have invested in purchasing. For example, and I've shared this before on our channel, we really enjoy Mission Heroes and a Now series. So we have purchased many of these books. Every year we buy a couple more to add to our little library. And it's something that has been such a blessing because all the boys have read through it. I honestly enjoy reading these as well. And it's something that really lends itself for unit studies and for a lot of learning beyond just reading through it, right? There's so much you can do with these books. So we have invested in purchasing these books, but there are a lot of other books that we've been able to get from our local libraries for book reports, for information, for different projects. So tapping into that local resources and really taking advantage of it is a wonderful way to elevate the learning and at the same time, do it for free. Recently, when I was out exploring kind of the new area where we're living, getting to know the different places around, I came across a Christian bookstore. And when I went in just to kind of, look around, I found they had a clearance section. And to my amazement, in the clearance section, they had actual homeschool curriculum on clearance. And so there was so much. I was able to get a couple things for our 7th grader on clearance just for $1, $2, actual curriculum. And so, you'll never know where you can actually find really great resources or very low cost. I encourage you to check out, if you have a local Christian bookstore, to check out to see if they have anything in their clearance areas. So once when we used to live in Massachusetts, there was actually a teacher store that was closing. And so they had an incredible sale for the lot of teacher supplies, able to get our daily geography curriculum there, very low cost. And so that was another way to really save money. Another great resource is the Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool curriculum. So when I shared a couple years ago in our free homeschooling resource video, we had not used that curriculum, but since then we actually have. We've used it for geography, we've used it for computer, and this year we will be using it also for a portion of our younger 2 boys' science. And so it is great because it is a free resource. And again, for some people, it will work for all subjects, but for others, you may just want to use pieces of it, kind of as we have done, to supplement and to be able to save. The overall cost of your year ends up being much less because you invest in the areas where you need to invest, but then there's other subjects or other things that you're able to school for free. So that website has been a great blessing to our family, and we have really enjoyed using it here and there for certain subjects. Also, getting out into nature and just using the resources the Lord has given us is an amazing way to learn and just have more of a relaxed learning environment, but at the same time, really saving money. We have done things like an A to Z scavenger hunt where the boys had to find something outdoors that started with every letter of the alphabet. We did that a couple years ago. We also always do a weather tracker. So every single school year, as part of our calendar time, we track the weather of where we live now, where we lived before, and then every single person chooses a city, it can be anywhere in the world, that they want to track the weather for the entire year. And then every single month we do averages, we take that data, we compare it, and it's fascinating. We've checked weather all over the United States, but we've also checked places in the Caribbean, in Africa, in Europe, in the Middle East. So it's been a great learning opportunity, and it's been completely free. So that's another idea if you're looking for free ways to be able to stretch your dollar a little more, but keep the learning going. Okay, so those are just a few ideas of how it is possible to homeschool on a budget. I pray that you and your family have had a wonderful, strong start to your homeschool year. I'd love to hear more tips or ideas that you may have, so feel free to leave them in the comments below. I pray that you and your family are well. I pray you are blessed. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to talking to you soon.